Today we're playing F1 Manager 23 early for the very first time, and the brand new game mode Race Replay by playing a race moment of Fernando's gamble. So this is all about the Monaco Grand Prix just gone, where Fernando Alonso could have potentially won the Monaco GP. So in F1 Manager 23 we're going to get these different race moments from real life where we're going to get a chance to rewrite history in a scenario. So a very different style of gameplay to just playing the normal career mode. So in this gameplay, we've got Fernando Alonso must finish higher than second place with his gamble. At lap 54 in Monaco, the threat of rain has the teams anxiously checking out their weather radars. Alonso chases Verstappen for the lead, the Spaniard on hard tyres and the Dutchman on worn mediums. Both drivers need to make a pit stop, but with the rain on the horizon, timing will be crucial. So this is a chance for us to rewrite history and try and get Fernando Alonso that Monaco GP win in the Aston Martin. Now, in hindsight, I maybe should have actually gone back and watched when Alonso pit for those mediums, remember, in the real-life Monaco Grand Prix, because it was lap 54, I believe, where he pit for mediums, and the very next lap, lap 55, that's when Max came in for the intermediates, and Fernando came back in for his set of intermediates. So I chose not to pit here on lap 54 for the inters that people were screaming about after the race, because if you look on the right hand side, the track, you know, the dampness is 0.25. Now in F1 Manager, at least on last year's game, you needed 1 millimeter of rain, or you know, in terms of dampness on track for it to be viable for inters. But to be fair, I maybe should have taken our teammate Stroll already on inters with a bit of rain falling as an inkling to maybe go. So this was maybe a little mistake that I made. That was the key moment of maybe rewriting what Alonso did. But at the same time, we didn't come in for medium. So we've already changed history because we've stayed out on those hard tyres with Verstappen, and we'll be looking to try and come in on the next lap, lap 55, because as we go on through the lap, the dampness is, well, already it's at 0.53 millimeters. By the time we get towards the tunnel, I think it's going to be about 1 millimeter, and that's exactly the point where Verstappen was complaining about it being too wet and intermediates were needed. So we've missed out that extra pit stop Alonso did in real life, but we've also maybe missed out on the chance to really gamble it on the inters when the track was still dry technically. But at this moment when I dived in, you know, I basically got given this build and this race moment, dived in, no prior prep of knowing I was going to play the Monaco GP race replay. So like I said, in hindsight, maybe I should have watched back the tapes and seen what went on and how we could best rewrite this, because I would have probably come in on lap 54 because Stroll's already on inters basically. So that was maybe our chance to jump Verstappen, maybe with an undercut in these wet conditions, because now you can see there Russell going through the very place where he made a contact with Perez in real life there on dry tyres, but he's going very slow, and the water has gone from 0.2 at the start of the lap to 1.9. So it's mimicked Monaco so well in terms of the rain literally came like that, and we've not lost out to Verstappen though. We're 5 seconds behind him, which is a lot less than what Fernando had by the time he had pit the mediums and come back out onto that very wet track. So there's still maybe a chance to overtake him because we've not lost that extra pit stop time. We're going to be just a couple of seconds behind him on intermediates, and there might be some other things that happen in the race that don't necessarily go the same way as real life. So race moments, the way the gameplay is going to work, I feel, is it's going to start you off in the scenario, but then anything after that is going to be up to the game, just, you know, very random what could happen basically. So, you know, there might not necessarily be the crash with Russell and Perez, etc. You know, Sainz going down the escape road. It's just going to be, you know, now what the game does. So we're now 2.9 seconds behind Verstappen on inters, chasing after him and getting past some lap cars, which immediately was good to see that it seems to be a bit easier to get cars past slower ones, and then also you'll see towards the end of the video in the last couple of laps, it's actually a lot better to overtake cars when you've got much more speed the AI that you're controlling and managing, they seem to do a better job of actually going for that dive bomb, going for the moves, basically. So, yeah, this race moment, it was a good chance to check out this new game mode, but also check out the actual different gameplay and little different mechanics in F1 Manager 23 compared to 22. But overall, in terms of my opinion on the game mode, I really like the idea. I think it's going to add just a different kind of way you can play the game, especially for me as a creator. I think it'd be great to dive into multiple race moments in different videos and try and rewrite history where we can, and try and see if we can try and complete the challenges, as it were. But in terms of the actual gameplay, so you'll notice on the bottom right there, slightly different UI to F1 Manager 22 last year, especially with the kind of managing the driver, pushing on his tires, the ERS usage. So in terms of the ERS dials, they're pretty much the same as they were last year, but now you've got the ERS battle assist. So that's a tactical approach, and that's going to aid you in, how you're harvesting, deploying ERS. So I think it's, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I'm pretty sure it's basically like a AI help of managing your ERS better to actually be able to battle someone and, like it says, battle assist, engage in an overtake. In terms of the way ERS is now shown to you, they've changed that up now, so it's kind of like a battery dial now, and you can see harvested on the right, deployed on the left, and you can see the MG actual number in the actual battery itself, and you can see that fluctuating. And in terms of the strategy of harvesting and deploying, I felt it was different to last year's game, whereas last year's game, I think there was every track had a few zones of oh, this corner you're going to harvest that, and then this straight is only when they'll really deploy. Whereas I felt like now, especially with the battle assist, the AI will take over and kind of subtly maybe harvest in places and maybe not harvest where you think they should, because they maybe know the AI, the computer, battle assist knows it a little bit better, and may deploy elsewhere to try and catch up to, whoever you're trying to battle or overtake, etc. So I think that was a positive step forward. I think that's going to maybe help everyone out in terms of, there was a lot of moments where you get stuck behind cars when you're trying to overtake them, as we now see a safety car come out. So this is already wildly different to the real-life Monaco Grand Prix. 20 laps to go, and we've got a safety car that's going to bunch us all up. So this is maybe our best chance to jump Verstappen with Fernando Alonso on that race restart and try and get him. But, we're 3.6 seconds behind him versus, many seconds down the road in real life when Alonso pit twice for the medium tires and the inters. So right now, this is an opportunity for us. It's looking good. We've kind of made amends for what happened in real life, and we've got a chance now that's just randomly cropped up with this safety car that obviously didn't happen in real life. So this maybe is our chance to rewrite that history and get the win at the Monaco GP. But going back to talking about the game, and I was talking about the ERS, talking about the driver pushing, there's now, you can set aggression levels for, go balls to the wall for overtakes, and then also for defending, always defend, don't defend that much, or like a neutral. So they've reworded the language there in terms of how you set the driver aggression. And in a different gameplay, which I'll be uploading later this week, where I played a full normal Grand Prix in the career mode, it really was more apparent that when you go balls to the wall with the driver notes, they actually really do go for it. They don't bother defending if you actually say don't defend, and it's a little bit more, I feel like, just flexible in terms of how they're going to go about it. The language change, I think, helps to encompass that a little bit better than it was in last year's game, where it was maybe hard and fast, like, oh, be really aggressive all the time. It's more like, okay, when you try and go for an overtake, go for it. So yeah, you can see there, overtake aggression, high, medium, and low. So it's instead of going aggressive on the tires, it's more, if you're going for an overtake, go for it. If not, go to medium, low, and then defending as well, don't defend. Obviously, there's still the kind of actual approach to driving where you've got the actual pace setting of, aggression all the way down to low, so that will still affect things in terms of how quickly your driver's going. But let's say you were on medium and you said go for the, go aggressive on overtake. That would maybe allow the driver to still protect their tyres a little bit, and if they're catching anyway because of their pace or the tyre they're on, they could then be aggressive on the overtake. Anyway, we're here on the restart. You can see with the amazing flying visor cam, which is just incredible. Like the way it looks so much like it is in real life is awesome. There's a few little moments here where you can't catch that much because of the way the helmet's cropping out, but there are so many places, especially with the glare through the tunnel here. It just, yeah, it's just such an awesome camera. Really cool to have it in. But on the restart, so we're 7/10 behind Verstappen. Obviously, he's in a Red Bull, so he did get a very good launch. It was going to be always very difficult to maybe jump him into turn 1, but we're staying on him. We're staying on him because of safety car. We've got also a decent amount of ERS. We've got 6 kg over of fuel, which is a big thing. So it means we can just push the fuel. I'm sure he's pushing fuel as well, but we can basically just push all the way to the end to try and catch him and just keep him honest, basically, in case he makes a mistake, or we're able to, you know, maybe catch traffic and maybe he gets held up a little bit there. We can try and make a move. Also, at the same time, with 10 laps to go, I actually noticed on the weather radar, I think at some point I'll hopefully show it to you on the screen. But on the weather radar, yeah, here, on the weather radar, right here, great timing for the commentary and the gameplay, you can see the water is going down progressively. So by the end of the race, I reckoned at the time it was going to get to dry. So maybe there's opportunity to do some worldly sort of YouTuber-esque, like, hero pit stop at the end and pit again with Alonso. This time, basically, taking that medium-type pit stop he made on that 54 in real life and taking it to the end of the race to be, like, when the track's getting dry, to maybe overtake a load of cars, slow on inters, and then maybe catch Verstappen on the last couple of laps. Lap 69, though, we're 3/10 under. You can see I've been on a harvest up the hill and then going to deploy, and the deploy seemed to be working a lot better through the tunnel into the last sector, but the whole time I've had battle assist on, and I wasn't really having to manage it lap to lap as much as last year's game, and with the battle assist it was still keeping me within Verstappen's range. So I think that's going to be really good in terms of just making it a more playable game, like, you know, a bit more fast paced. You know, not all of us have all the time in the world to manage it lap to lap for, like, you know, an hour and a half through a Grand Prix. So I think the battle assist is going to come in handy in terms of wanting to play the game, play the race a little bit more a quicker pace, I think is the word, basically. It's not to say you can't, it's not to say that you can leave the management alone, but you need to keep an eye on it still, because obviously my battery is draining right now, but it just means you have a better chance of sticking with AI. But at this point now, I decided to switch over to the soft compound tyre. Lap 75, maybe could have come in earlier for an even bigger gamble, because we're at 1 millimeter of water, and around 1.5 was when I think the crossover was earlier in the race. So maybe could have risked it a little bit more to go into lap 74, but I risked it on lap 75 to go onto the soft tyre, just to basically see how it goes. You can see the weather forecast actually changed as we went on through the race. You saw there was a massive dip on that weather radar. So the weather can actually check, the forecast seemed to change through the race, because obviously, you know, like in real life, you just never know what is going to happen with Mother Nature. So we come in, I'm going to pit in Stroll as well, May as well, because he's our second driver, but the race moment is just really about Fernando Alonso in this one, which is maybe a little bit of a weird one. You know, you do these race moments and it might just be about one driver, so you're going to leave your teammate alone because, you know, he's not part of the challenge, basically. But we come in, Verstappen stayed out. I think most people are going to stay out for intermediate. So we're trying this hero strategy, because we're going to be down to about, I think, P8, no, maybe even more. I don't know. Where is Sonoda? 6.4 behind us. I think we'll be fine to get Sonoda. So we've come out in P8 on softs, and we are, you know, at least a good 16 seconds away from Verstappen at the moment. So this is now a chance to maybe be a hero, climb up, and this is the point of the video where it's going to show really well how much better it is with overtaking cars when they're so much slower than you. Now, I know these cars are on intermediates and we're on softs, but I would like to think it's going to hopefully be the same way as if you're on a new fresh set of tyres and they're on old ones. The way Alonso's AI here makes these dive bombs when we're going full out aggression on the softs, pushing the fuel, is really incredible. Like, he literally flies through the cars so much. So hopefully that's going to play out also in terms of different tyre strategies as well. So we're already catching Hamilton at a rate of knots. The gap already down from, like, what was it, 6 seconds to 4.5. Verstappen's still going pretty strong. Obviously, he is in the Red Bull, so he's going to be pretty good still on intermediates. But the track is dry now, 0.6 millimeters of water. So there's only 2 laps left. And with this strategy, Alonso built driver confidence. Look at that on the bottom right. Driver confidence actually picks up and can fluctuate mid-race, which is awesome to see, because on the normal, like, full F1 game by Ian Cody's, you know, driver focus is just a set thing going into a race, whereas here in F1 Manager, driver confidence, their version of focus, it actually is, you know, dynamic as the race goes on. Your driver can build confidence through the race. Just like when you drive on that other game and you're building confidence as a driver, the AI driver you're managing here in the manager game will build his own confidence and get better and better as he goes on. If you're making the right call, it's a strategy that he likes, he's comfortable with. So, you know, Alonso, you know, you saw there through the swimming pool section, flew through Russell, Ocon and Leclerc, really made these really quick overtakes. You know, we're going now and attacking Carlos Sainz. Dive down the inside of the hairpin. He gets Leclerc at the hairpin. Oh, Sainz, sorry, the hairpin. Goes round the outside of Gasly. So those kind of areas, I really feel like on last year's game, they would have been stuck behind them for at least a couple of more corners. So they just have that more urgency and awareness to make moves. And also AI who are slower kind of now are aware of, oh, this is not my fight, maybe I should get out of the way and not defend as much, basically. So now we've got clean air, but Verstappen's still going pretty quick on the intermediates. That was my only critique, is I felt like the AI were able to go quite quick on inters on a dry track here, that we didn't gain that much. We gained like 1 more second on Verstappen by the time we got to the last lap, maybe 2 seconds overall on the last lap. So yeah, we didn't complete this challenge. I don't think I was in a session with other creators and people playing the game. I think I was in a session with Marcel Kiefer, and he didn't complete the challenge either. So in hindsight, maybe I should have put pit for inters literally on the lap they give you, but obviously that's the fun of these race moments. You can replay it again, try a different tactic, and that's why I'm actually really buoyed and really positive about this game mode, because I think career is going to be great. You know, hopefully, you know, that's going to be improved, and the gameplay wise is going to be a bit more replayability, you know, after multiple seasons. But the race moments, the race replay mode is going to be really great for these little segments where I just really enjoyed being put into this scenario. And how many times have we, you know, watched F1 and gone, oh, I would have done this and done that, and you're kind of like, you know, an armchair sort of strategist. Well, this is now your chance to take part in that, and I just really like that idea, and I think it's a cool concept. And just depending on the kind of, hopefully the real life season throws up cool scenarios for us, that there'll be really fun moments that are going to get updated as we go on through. I think the game is going to launch with, like, I think 12 sort of race moments, maybe some additional ones if you pre-order the Champions Edition. So yeah, as a first ever play of this game mode on F1 Manager 23, I really enjoyed it. Really was fun, just stepping in just straight into a Monaco GP, like lap 54 with Alonso, and just trying it out and not having to do all the other kind of faff with practice quali and everything like that, and just kind of having a different challenge, having the game tell me this is your objective, just go for it, rather than the usual career mode where you're setting your own challenges, your own expectations, basically. So yeah, this has been our first ever play of F1 Manager 23. Like I said, there is going to be a second gameplay video on the way later this week where I play through a full Grand Prix inside a career mode save at the British Grand Prix, so be sure to get subscribed for that. If you have enjoyed this video and the first look at this game, my first time playing it myself, then be sure to hit the like button. Let me know what you made of it in the comments below. Do you reckon you could have done this challenge straight off the bat? Would you have pit when I pit, or would you have thought, nah, of course we have to pit straight away onto the intermediates? Let me know in the comments below. But I'll catch you guys around. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.